did you have an intro in mind for this one?
Not really. Hey, we're Kevin and Albert.
Yeah.
Back again for episode 11 of our Kingdoms podcast.
Yeah.
We're talking about episode 48.
Yeah.
Which happened last night. It's a spicy one.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into the recap? I feel like I want you to do the recap for this one.
Before we do that, do you ever have an intro in mind? Do either of us ever have an intro in mind for these things? No?
Don't.
So it's just something we say now?
I'm pretty sure we've been doing it for the last 8 podcasts or so.
Yeah, but I was thinking that like maybe one of us would actually have an intro in mind at some point. But no.
I thought we agreed that like we would do an intro for a first couple, and if we weren't feeling it, we would just do whatever.
Yeah, I guess we're doing what I think. Me asking if we have an intro in mind is the intro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want it to be, and then whatever scuffed intro gets left in there, just
Yeah,
like this one right now. We're just wasting so much time talking about intros and stuff.
Hey, we can talk about what we want. This is for us. This is for us. Ain't nobody else. Session 48. Spicy is a way to put it. And there were a lot of words thrown around that I'm sure a lot of people didn't mean. It was a very heated night tonight. Or at least in character was the heated. I don't know if the players themselves got heated. I think one of them maybe kind of put themselves out there. I'm looking at you, Tokul. But yeah, we should start with the recap. Do you want to do it this time, or should I?
Yeah, I feel like you should do it for this one.
Okay. You did it last time, I'll do it this time. I gotcha. So at the end of last session, the group, the team, pretty much beat up the elementals very handily, and they unlocked this clue to the next piece of the puzzle, the location of Dawnhelm, where the Oathbreaker sleeps in the vault, and all the revelations and fortunes or whatever become true. And so as they collect that, Maple actually, this isn't in the thing, but Maple wanted to check the temple again, because Maple thought there might be something else there. So he starts casting a ritual detect magic to see if there was anything else, and that gets interrupted later on. But I want to comment on this real quick, because maybe he was right. Maybe he was right. But you guys don't get the chance to go back there, unfortunately. And I think he's really the only one who kind of picked up on that. I mean, because there was no like loot or anything. It was just kind of a, here's a clue. So maybe there was extra stuff there, but who knows? Did you get that vibe at all or not?
Well, yeah, well, there was no way I could have known because it was interrupted. I thought that you would just like, because there was a few things that were happening while he was doing that, and I was thinking maybe, oh, okay, that would have been enough time, but it wasn't. So, yeah, not too sure. But now that you say there might have been, we missed something there, definitely.
Yeah, who knows? So yeah, while that's happening, I think Storm goes back up to check on the pirates along with Igmar and Ryan, and the pirates are chilling. They're looking out into the distance, and they see this massive battleship, hunk of steel, metal, wood, abomination, capital flying ship thing. In my head, it kind of looks like a floating rectangle in the sky. It's got wings.
Floating rectangle?
Yeah, like maybe not a rectangle, but like a
raft.
Yeah,
or like an airship carrier.
Like an airship carrier, except it's like super scuffed and more like it's got a lot of edges to it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and that's approaching real fast. Yeah,
it's like Rivet City from Fallout 3, except it's in the air and it's got wings and stuff.
Sure.
Maybe that's it's too old reference. Game's
no, I
too
didn't
old.
get that. I didn't get that at all. And this is the Sky Conqueror, the capital ship of the Stony Spire pirates. Everyone's in a bit of a rush. You see Storm bolt down the stairs like, guys, there's some stuff going on upstairs. We need to leave now." Maple's kind of dejected because he has to stop the ritual. Oasis is trying to feel around with her druid bones or whatever. Uh, I don't know what she was done.
Was it just like walking around?
Yeah, I think yeah. I was like, how do you feel around with druid bones? It's like a wishbone or something. I don't know. And so the party races back up the stairs, and there's this confrontation between them and the pirates are like, "No, you can't take Eliwick. She's coming back with us. If you want to talk about it, you wait till the captain gets here." And you guys are like, "No, we want to leave right now." And then Igmar's like, "No, I don't want to leave with you guys. I'm leaving with Ryan." And Ryan's like,
Well,
"No, we should leave with a party."
I think specifically it was Storm who wanted to leave. Everyone else.
I think Storm and Oasis.
I think
Storm and
Oasis. Yeah, you're right.
They wanted to leave. I think you guys were more on the fence.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a valid concern. Captain of the Stony Spire Pirates, right?
Basically, we had two choices. It's either, well, we had two options, right? We either go on with Igmar somehow convince Igmar to let us on or something like that. Which I think he was mostly willing, except for the fact he had to bring Storm, which Storm comes up as another point of contention later on. But
yeah, he does.
In this point, yeah, it's like, you know, the rest of the party can go on, but it's except for Storm because, you know, Storm killed his uncle and stuff like that. Wasn't too happy. And I think Snow made the suggestion that we go on with the pirates, because if they're taking Eliwick no matter what, we might as well go with Eliwick. Because she seems to be, you know, a big key to this whole Oathbreaker hunt. So, but it felt like, I think Storm felt like there was a sense of urgency to get back to Huria for a bunch of stuff. And I think one of them being that, I think Short from the duo Short and Stout, which is a blacksmith duo in Huria that run the shop, the teapot, was a Sten dwarf. So like, he wanted to ask him some questions, but I didn't see the urgency in that at all.
Yeah, I don't think the dwarf's going anywhere, right?
I don't think there was any sort of urgency to go back to Huria. I think Storm just wanted to avoid the pirates. So,
which is a valid
yeah, concern. It was valid, but I think the pirates didn't seem too hostile when we first met them. I think they might have been reasonable, which we find out when you continue with the recap that
I mean were. you had your own concerns when I remember Snow was asking what kind of guy the captain was, and you were trying to get that insight check in on like, oh, is this guy telling the truth or is they messing with us? Because I think Escort replies that their captain is a generally agreeable guy, and you're like, I don't trust that a single bit. Let me roll some insight on that. And so
I mean, of course, you gotta have some suspicion. You gotta keep your ears up, especially with pirates, right? If you think of what a pirate is, they want gold and stuff. So I don't think they would be above robbing random party members blind. So
hashtag not all pirates.
I had an inkling that might have been the case. Thankfully, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So the Sky Conqueror arrives, then what happens?
Yeah, you guys argue for a long time, long enough for the Sky Conqueror to kind of loom itself above, casting this great big shadow over the temple, and this small ship kind of comes down out of it, around the same size of Igmar's ship. It kind of floats over, lands near you, and out struts the captain of the Stony Spire Pirates, Ravrim One-Winged Soulist. It is a one-winged Aarakocra with these jet black raven feathers, these topaz yellow piercing eyes, this black beak, and he gives off this imposing vibe, and it's evident in the picture I sent you guys, which is where I stole the inspiration from. But then he just kind of walks up, struts up, picks up Eliwick, puts her on his shoulder, and invites you guys for lunch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was that expected, or was that like a huh?
No,
this is
it wasn't.
weird?
It was too easy. It was almost too easy. Which was why Snow was also extra extra suspicious. It was just too
Yeah.
easy. Just like, you want lunch? Okay. We're getting poisoned? We're getting trapped? Are we the lunch? Something I think someone else said suggested the party was the lunch.
Yeah.
Um,
Oasis
yeah.
turns into a bear.
Oasis turns into a bear, of course, because there's the whole water genasi bounty thing going on. But
Mm-hmm.
we find out later wasn't too as effective as she thought it would be.
No, not at all. I think the general thing is that through past encounters with people of power, I guess, they always treat you with not exactly hostility, but a similar sense of like suspicion. Like they straight up usually don't like you guys or don't trust you at all. So it was a bit of a plot twist, bit of a mix up
Yeah,
when this supposedly real evil bad guy or whatever leader of the pirates is like, yeah, what's up? Um, yeah, so he invites you guys to lunch, and you guys are like, yes, I guess so. Storm seems the most agreeable to this, and everyone just kind of follows along, right?
which is funny because
Oh,
he wanted to get away the most. I feel like out of everyone, away from the pirates, and then Reverend comes down, and then Storm just like, all right, let's just have lunch.
you got to adapt, I guess. That's the thing. I don't
Sure,
know.
I guess so.
You adapted very quick. You guys go up onto the ship. He invites you into his dining room, which is this lavish, really gold, shiny ass place. Like the cutlery's gold, the plates are gold, the table's gold, the chairs are gold, the cabinets are made out of gold, and there's all these different kind of relics and
Mm.
ancient, I guess, what would you call them? Accessories, just kind of decorating the walls. It seems he's a collector of some sort. He invites you guys to sit down. You guys sit down. We every time we sit down at a table, it somehow comes up that we need everyone's seating position. um, I,
I think it kind of grounds the scene a
yeah,
little bit
yeah,
because that sort of thing is a little bit hard to keep track of, especially because we sit around a table. So people probably like, I think the players assume that the way we sit at the table is the way we sit in character because it's just easier just to see, right?
yeah.
But for some reason we were like, oh no, we all sat down at different places, and then yeah, I think I drew a little illustration
A very cute
of our
illustration.
of our seating arrangement.
Yeah, I think it in a if I want to look into this really deeply, seating position kind of represents a bit of your character's a bit of your character, right? Because Storm really wanted to saddle up with Ravrim, so he sits right up the front. Oasis is super wary, so she sits way at the back, kind of thing. Everyone else, like Ryan, sits next to Igma because he needs to protect him at all times. So yeah, there's definite what's the word, motivation in where you guys sit, as even though as small or weird it might be. But yeah, I mean, I don't really mind it. It definitely took longer than I thought it would, especially I don't know because you guys started drawing pictures. I was like, all right, whatever, we can do this. We got time. Yeah. So he invites you guys down. He brings out an entree, which is, if I recall correctly, poached harpy eggs with a side of boulette fin soup.
Bullet fin soup.
Boulette fin soup. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's boulette to me. Maybe it's just bullet.
It
I don't know.
it definitely helped with the scene that you described the food because yeah, I don't know. I was just imagining, and you were like setting up the scene, and there was multiple sets of forks and knives, and you started asking about like, would the characters know how to eat at a nobleman's table?
Yeah,
Because that's the cliche where they have like a fork or a knife or a spoon for each specific piece of food that they're eating. And I like that you played into it with this guy, and it didn't seem like he was like, didn't seem like Reverend was your typical brute pirate captain. He had some sensibilities about him, and the cuisine was quite. I don't know. I feel like I could almost taste the cuisine. Like the
oh,
shark fin
okay.
soup was like this warm, thick, goopy crap, like the real shark fin soup.
I've never tried it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it was like it's kind of like this beige goopy stuff, and then the harpy
Oh,
egg was like you ever had a duck egg? You
yeah, yeah.
and it's like kind of weird. I feel like it was like that.
Okay, yeah. I'd imagine hoppy eggs to be a little bit bigger in size, but yeah, something along those lines. Same
Yeah,
texture
like
though. Yeah,
yeah, size may be different, but the weirdness of the duck egg. It's not
yeah.
like a
It's
chicken
a
egg.
little
Like
alien. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
there's something a bit off to it. Yeah, I know. In my head when I was prepping this session, I was pretty much telling myself if there's one thing I have to prepare, it's the fucking food.
hell yeah.
Because the players they love their food, and I gotta make sure I got a 3-course meal for these guys with every ingredient or whatever. Um, and Ravrim, I'm pretty sure Storm bombards him with like a lot of questions at the start, like, "Oh, where'd you get all these things? How'd you grow up? Blah blah blah." Ravrim
Mm,
kind of shuts him down a little bit. Um, that to be honest, that was kind of in character and kind of me as a DM as well, because I really want the other players to share their opinions in these situations as well. Because like we mentioned a few podcasts ago, Storm definitely takes the initiative, and I really want the players to kind of jump in as well. So it was good to kind of keep him out for a little bit so the other players could get their input in.
mm,
Ravrim like specifically pointed at different characters and asked them questions. And as he's eating, he's talking about family and a good deal is only made during a meal or something along those lines.
mm.
He's a bit of a strange man. How information is like gold, it pays to hoard, but we're family, so we should share, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And so he asks you what you would do if a family member like stabbed you in the back, and you all have varying answers, which is really great from a I guess a character development standpoint or a character exploration standpoint. like like who was it? I think Toka was like, I'd forgive them first, but if they tried it again, I'd pretty much murder them. And someone was like, "No, let's just straight up murder them." I think it was Ryan. Like from where I'm from, you just straight up die for doing that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, I think someone else was like, "Yeah, we'll forgive him, give him a second chance." You all had kind of different answers, which is really cool to see, honestly. I
I
didn't
don't
plan
think
for that.
I don't think Snow actually
I don't think he
gave
got
it
an answer.
gave him an answer.
Yeah,
No, think about it. But that I think that's also a really hard question for Snow because
it hits a
like
little
yeah,
deeper.
it actually did happen to him. So yeah, I don't know.
so if Ravrim asked you, what would Snow say?
What would he say?
What would he
Yeah,
say?
I was thinking about it last night and I didn't really come to a concrete conclusion.
Okay.
So I think because part of Snow's backstory is that his half of the family turned on the princes, aka his cousins' half of the family, and overthrew them. And Snow was kind of cut between his side of the family. Like, does he keep his loyalties to his father, or does he keep his loyalties to his uncle? And I feel like at first he was loyal to his father, so he was just carrying his stuff out for his father. But at the very end, he decided that, the people he actually values instead of his traditional obligations are worth more to him. So he decides to set the prince free, so he betrays his family, so he actually kind of does it himself. And then his father and brother, or his father orders the Snow to get executed
Yep.
by the hands of his own brother. So there's that layer of it. And then basically in the campaign, Snow meets back up with the prince at some point, and I feel like that in itself is a sort of betrayal because Snow's ideal of the prince, or Snow's memory of the prince, is so much different from how the prince actually is now. It feels like, in a sense, not literally, but in a sense, that's like the prince is betraying Snow because he's changed so much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's just betrayals on betrayals.
Yeah, betrayal of expectations.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
that so and so yeah, that's kind of that makes the question really complicated now that you guys know the context for that. So it's really hard to say what Snow would actually do. At first, he wanted revenge, but it's like it's also like if he has revenge and kills everybody that wrongs him, then what's left after that? Or what do you do after that?
Hmm.
Was it really worth carrying out the revenge if all you're going to be left with is nothing? So yeah,
Ooh.
I don't know. I actually don't know. It's a really hard question for Snow to
Okay.
answer. Yeah,
Okay. So, so at the end of the day, it's I don't know.
yeah,
It's
it is.
hard to
I don't.
answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
I understand that. Yeah, it was nice to kind of explore that facet of characters' opinions of things. Although although in the end it didn't really matter because Ravrim's like, yeah, let me tell you something. He kind of he kind of pulls over Escott to his side and just kind of stabs him through the neck, through like the throat, and like
yeah.
up into his head.
So what was the context? Because I feel like Creed wanted Escott dead as well,
Yep.
but Ravrin goes on to say when he's explaining why he killed Escott is because Escott took up a bunch of money to betray Ravrin to go over to Creed's side or something like that. Is that it?
Not quite. Ravrim leaked a bit of personal information on Creed out to his lackeys. And Escott, being the power hungry man he is, he decides to take this information for himself and attempt to blackmail Creed or trade the information for some sort of material wealth, which
Right.
was in the letter that was with all the crystals and whatever that Igmar and Ryan were trading for. And while knowing this, Ravrim's like, "Alright, you out of here, you out of here,
So it
get
was
him
like a
out of here."
test. It was like a test of loyalty. Is that what Ravrin was trying to
Along
do?
those lines, yes.
Okay.
And Creed was somehow aware of this, and she also wanted him to get, disposed of, and perhaps they have some sort of communication with one another,
Hmm.
Creed
I
and
feel
Ravrim.
like
Who knows?
yeah, I feel like that kind of plot thread resolved itself. That would have been a cool plot thread to explore. Like maybe Ravrin, that was his first task, right? Like maybe that wasn't like a that could have been like Escott overheard something Ravrin said instead of Ravrin deliberately said something.
Hmm.
And then, Ravrin and Creed pick up that somebody knows something they're not supposed to know. And so they get the party
Gotta
to figure
find the
out who
rat,
it was. Blah 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 blah. I feel like that would
find
have been
them
a cool
all.
quest line. But I feel like yeah, that sort of thing. Sometimes the plot the plot thread just resolves itself. Because
Yeah.
I was thinking, this is Escott the pirate. He doesn't seem like a bad guy, but apparently he was.
I mean, depends on who you ask. Wanting a little bit more money doesn't really make you a bad person, does it? You know, I mean, it's all relative.
I mean, it
Um,
depends on the means of which you gain the money. If you take the money to blackmail another person, that
I
doesn't
mean, if the
make you a
person you're
very.
blackmailing is like an evil bitch, maybe though he was a little justified, maybe not. You know,
Yeah,
it's all
sure.
relative.
Justification aside, the act of doing so isn't good.
Keep your morals away from my game. It's all relative here. I mean, Escott
You talk
getting
big
murdered.
game.
Escott getting murdered. The act in and of itself, for me, was to kind of ground Ravrim's character. So far, has been this amiable, kind of not exactly endearing, but he's
He's still
gregarious.
he's still a pirate at the
He's
end of
still
the
a
day.
pirate. He's
Yeah. Yeah.
he murders people in cold blood
Escott
when the
used
need
as a plot
arises.
device. You used an entire
Rest in
character
peace.
as a plot
Rest in
device.
peace. So yeah, and like the blood kind of splutters everywhere onto the plates and whatnot. He cleans himself up with the handkerchief, whatever. Um, and that's the entree. So I guess if someone was paying attention, they'd see that some sort of event or some sort of deal goes down at each section of the meal. So say the entree was, talking about family, talking about betrayals and backstabbing, and it kind of resolved itself with Escott dying. And we move on to the main course. Ravrim rings the bell. People come in, they clean up the plates, they kind of drag the body away, and they bring in these giant crab legs from the ocean.
Mm.
which are slathered in butter, and they have these kind of like
Ooh.
lemons, ooh, like
Mm.
lemon wedges.
Mm.
Oh,
What?
oh, I mean that's kind of making me hungry too.
that, that
Um,
that does sound pretty good. I'm just imagining this big steaming red crab, and you
it's like
can
the
just
size of your arm. Like the
yeah,
leg is
and
like the size of your arm. Oh
you can
my
just
god.
cut open the leg
Oh,
with a knife and just like scoop out the meat and just
oh,
sounds good.
oh. Anyway, those come out of plates. People start digging in. Oh, before Reverend was like, "Oh yeah, I don't really know how to use the cutlery either. I just kind of go at it." So that was a little bit of info on him. And you guys start eating. Notice how that Reverend always waits until the meal's over until he discusses business.
Yeah.
Um, it's I guess just one of his character traits. And so he waits for everyone to finish. Everyone finishes, and he goes on to the next piece of business, which is the main thing, the reason you're here, the oath breaker. Um, and he admits he has some sort of vested interest in all things shiny, which is one of the reasons why he wants this oath breaker. Um, and so you guys, there's a bit of back and forth, like, family shares, so I give you information, you give me information. I think Storm tries to bargain for a ship and a captain, whatever, or the role of a
Again,
captain.
again and again with the ship and the captain thing.
It
Oh,
apparently it's his destiny in a
this
different
this
campaign.
this is the beginning of the end of this session.
It hasn't gone downhill quite yet.
I mean,
Um,
the way that Storm constantly like, you know, harps on this ship captain idea, I think is like gets on Reverend's nerves a little bit later on.
he did get visibly agitated. He kind of twiddled with the knife in his hands. He seemed a little, a little bit feisty, a little bit angry, but he calms down. He's a man of compassion, a man of family. So you have to be patient with your family. It's that kind of thing. So he asks you guys pretty much your backstory, like everything you've done so far, why you need this thing, and you guys are pretty forthright with information. Um, why do you think that is?
Because we don't have anything else to give this guy. It is often the case where an NPC wants something that the party does not have. I feel like that is a running theme with this campaign. Creed wants us to do something impossibly grand, and all the party's getting in return is one favor. Ravrin is asking for worthwhile information, and party only has the truth to go off of. There's no juicy tidbits. We don't have bits to blackmail Creed with or anything like that. We just we're just some
The
hillbilly
truth and nothing but the
bumfucks.
truth.
We're just some hillbilly bumfucks that don't do anything but, cause trouble. And this is where it's getting us.
Pretty much. Do you think you guys will more? What's the word? You didn't really withhold any kind of information. You were pretty open with him. Um,
Well, it's felt like this felt like an actual really good lead to go off, so I felt like the party wanted to leverage that by giving everything we could to him in order to increase the chances of us actually having a mutually beneficial relationship.
yeah, which is very rare in this campaign. Yeah. I guess he. Would you say that because he was a little more friendlier to you than, say, Creed or Ed Warren, that it was easier to communicate?
Possibly that might have been the case. I feel like for me, it just felt like he's looking for the Oathbreaker, we're looking for the Oathbreaker. It's easy. This is an easy deal to make,
Easy deal. Easy deal. I agree.
and
I agree.
it's a good deal to make. So
And a good deal.
that's where I came from. But the other players might feel like the fact that he was a bit more amiable than a lot of the other NPCs we've had to deal with played a factor. But for me, it was just an easy deal.
Yeah, he gets you guys. He gets you guys. So he receives that information, and in return, he gives you guys a bit of info. He tells you, what does he tell you about? Do you recall? Just extra info on the Oathbreaker and what he can do for you.
Basically, he's been looking for the Oathbreaker for a year now, kind of using Eliwick. Um, I'm not sure what Eliwick's personal motivations for looking for the Oathbreaker are.
Mm-hmm.
Appears like she's kind of in an indentured servitude relationship with the pirates. She like builds them airships or something like that, but also is helping them look for the Oathbreaker. And I believe, yeah, they found the hilt in some temple, in some undisclosed temple, and I think he also tells us that the Sten dwarves, the dwarves that were referenced in the puzzle phrase that we got in the elemental chamber, they, from what he says, they don't appear to be the most populous race. They seem to be very very rare.
Yeah, dying race.
And I believe some of the party members made some history checks to see if they even knew of these dwarves, which it was barely is what it came down to.
Yeah.
And apparently they're in the northwestern side of the desert. I knew, I as a player knew where they
Yeah.
were,
Of
but
course
I
you knew.
didn't,
Of course you knew.
because I made them. But
Yeah,
uh,
you're the goddamn inventor of them. Yeah.
um,
Same spot, same place.
but I wanted the other players to kind of unravel it for themselves. And even then, I did make them. I didn't make them any, like, I haven't gone past the name and where they're located. That's about, and they're dwarves. That's it. Because I believe one of my characters in a one shot was a Sten dwarf, but that one shot was based like way in the past, right? I believe Eisen's player was running that campaign, and it was based like 1,000 years in the past, where like an old empire was still ruling Axia or something
Oh,
like
he
that.
was from there.
That's where I made it up.
Oh.
That's where I made it up.
Oh.
And I remember you were like, what was the name of the place that guy's from? And I was like, oh yeah, it's the Sten dwarves, and they're on like they're bordering the desert and the like.
The jungle.
Is it the jungle? Is it like the living jungle that's after that?
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
it's jungle, mountains, desert.
and then the jungle kind of blends into the Ivory Vale if you go more to the west, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Kind of hard to pin down the Axian geography. I keep thinking like the jungle is
Without
like
a picture.
is in the center, and like the Ivory Well just takes up like the whole western side. That's probably not the case, but yeah.
You know that how it'd be. I didn't realize that guy. I guess at the time I realized, but I guess I just forgot about it. But yeah, Kevin was the creator of the Sten dwarves.
In name,
Um,
in name
yeah.
only.
So there's a lot more for you to explore once, or if you guys ever go down that avenue. I said once, but if is a much more
Yeah,
considerate way of saying it,
sure.
especially with the way things are going right now. Um. So, dinner, lunch, sorry, the main meal, crab legs, you finish, you guys talk, talk a lot. He's like, well, you know what, you do this for me, I can help you guys out. I think, I don't know who it was. I think Maple was like, can you help us out? Like, once whatever, we find the temple or whatever.
Yeah, I
And
think the conversation divulged into, okay, what is the deal? What is the components of the deal?
yeah,
So he wants us to kidnap a prime called Tilvir, who is a sun
yep,
elf that runs this grand gambling airship called the Garden. It's a very, I think you described it quite aptly. It's a place where you can bet and win your dreams. So it kind of goes to show what kind of thing you can gamble there.
uh-huh,
So it must have been a pretty big place. And I was imagining this kind of Elysium kind of looking greenery, it's got inbuilt waterfalls, it's kind of
yeah,
like a garden type place, and it's kind of like marble with gold finishings and things like that. That's the kind of place I was imagining it to be.
Okay.
Kind of like cool and air conditioned in this country of hot and sweat.
Yeah. Well, you guys will have to go there to find out if it's anything
Yeah.
close to that. I don't know if that's gonna happen either. I don't know. A lot of things are just kind of going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I
there was a.
just
Sorry, go.
I just wanted to comment. Like, this is a thought I had during the food thing, and it's not related to this deal or whatever. But
Yeah.
Snow, when he eats, when I initially thought up of the character, he's basically a zombie. So throughout most of the campaign, I'd never described Snow eating at all. Most of it.
Yep.
Because like I felt like he doesn't need to eat. Like, I feel like he doesn't have the desire to eat or has the need to eat. And then I think like 20 sessions into the campaign, I was like, I think that Baronessa was like giving us soup or something, and I thought it was a funny idea that Snow would carve himself a little bamboo straw so he can suck soup out of. And I think for the first time, I kind of told the party why he was sucking out of that straw. It's because his mouth is burnt off, right? It's kind of gruesome fact. And everyone's kind of grossed out about it. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's the desired effect I wanted.
Yep.
So that's why he has straw. He has a straw. But when he drinks everything, it's not because he's like retarded or anything. It's because he actually can't drink properly.
He is physically inept.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in that session, I feel like, does Snow really eat? Does he really eat? I don't know. How do you feel about that? How do you feel if like a reincarnated, burnt piece of charcoal was brought back to life? Do you think that they would need to eat?
I think it adds to the game if you do eat, but I understand from a immersive standpoint that they really shouldn't or really don't have to. Maybe it's like people just kind of do things like, you know how like people lose their memory, but they just kind of pick up old habits of what they used to do that they don't really know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, right? It's like you're just kind of used to eating, so you do it anyway, even though you don't have to.
Yeah, and that then further from that point, when Snow eats, where does it go? Does it digest normally, or does it just fall out of a hole out of his stomach or something?
Ew. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want to think about that.
Luckily, we don't have to cover that stuff in D&D. Nobody has to go to toilet. Nobody has to brush their teeth.
That's
or whatever.
hardcore D&D. Like a toothbrushing check.
Anyway, that was unrelated.
It's up to you. It's up to you if you want to go with that. It's always up to the player with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I figured eating is not like integral to the mechanics of the game, right? Like, the characters aren't required to eat if they choose not to. But I feel like it does add an extra little bit of fun to eating scenes, especially now that we're like actually getting proper food, like proper proper food. I feel like it's only natural that we start eating properly.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I think that's cool. And I think I brought up last week when we were organizing food that like we could actually, while we eat our real food, our real dinner, we can actually roleplay the characters eating their food in world. So it kind of like us eating in the real life kind of grounds the characters eating in D&D.
Do you think the players are at that level?
I mean, it's just role playing while we eat. It's just role playing while we eat. I just wanted to take that opportunity to like bring eating to the next level, right? Like, if players thought it was weird that characters had to eat and basically nothing happens, I feel like this is a more approachable way to role play while they eat, because people talk while they eat, right?
Yeah.
So it's only natural that the characters would talk while they eat, but because the food is not real, you don't have that that thing to ground the meal,
That feedback.
ground the meal time, right? So I feel like if we actually made it real in real life and then just pretended we were the characters just eating, I feel like that would open up another avenue for roleplay, for natural roleplay.
Another level of immersion.
Yeah, if you want to call
Yeah.
it that.
I mean, if you can sell the players on the idea, I will gladly participate.
I don't think it's a tough sell, but
I think it might be a tough sell.
now why do you think so?
It's a gap that people just usually don't cross, and I think it'll be very strange and very alien to some of the players. And that's it. That's my
I
reason.
feel like it'll be a natural like it might take some getting used to, but I feel like if we actually try to do it a couple times, it might be good. I feel
Yeah.
like it might be good. I have a good feeling. But it's also when we eat, it's also we kind of it takes up a lot of room on the table. It's not a big table, especially with the amount of players that we have.
It
It does
used to be
take
a
up.
big table.
I mean, ain't anymore.
There used to be so much space on that table.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I feel like that's something if we wanna elevate our roleplay, and I feel like we always should be improving the game. We should never be fully satisfied with how the game's. You know, something can be improved, and so we can have the best game possible.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Anyway, that was a long tangent about food that wasn't wasn't related about the deal. So we're talking about the deal.
The deal is
He,
food, you know?
talking about
A
the
good deal goes over meal.
Ravrin wants us to kidnap Telvir, one of the primes, a very rich prime who runs this grand gambling airship,
Rich,
and take
powerful crime.
and take it back to Ravrin. And the way we go about that is he has a rival ship called there's a rival ship that rivals the Sky Conqueror called the Bitter Maiden. It was just as big, but sleeker and cooler.
The bitter matron. Matron. Not
Who was
maiden.
that is run by the Steel Maiden.
There it is. Yeah.
The Steel Maiden, I'm getting mixed up, who is apparently was misunderstood as a prime herself, but it turns out she is just muscle for the prime. She's one of the hands of the primes,
the hand.
the
Yeah.
fist of the primes, something like that. And we could possibly use her to get to Telvir, and then get Telvir back to Ravrin. And Ravrin wants to see if he can take her place as prime, which seems
Pretty
interesting.
Much.
So essentially the bargaining chips of the deal was we do this massive favor for Ravrin, but basically taking down a prime, right? one of the 13 people who run the entire city, and basically we install him as a prime. He gives us he gives us the head. That's another thing we also skipped over. Goldtooth is a character.
That's dessert. That's why we skipped over. I don't think it's happened yet.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, dessert happens, and we discuss
Yeah.
the terms of the deal, right? What's
Yeah.
dessert? What's what? Oh, it's shaved ice. It's shaved ice, right?
Shaved ice with pixie dust.
Pixie dust. And what flavor do you think?
It's
pixie
like a
dust?
crackling, kind of like a soda,
like
soda cream
pop
crackling.
rocks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like pop
yeah.
rocks.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I should have described that. I forgot actually. Yeah, I think the first part of the deal was simply, you go get the Oathbreaker. I can help you if you get rid of the Bitter Matron for me. That was the first part.
Right.
And then dessert comes along, so there's a new meal, new deal. He turns over to Oasis and he's like, you know what? We need to talk. We need to talk. I know what you are, and I kind of know what you want or what you might want.
Meanwhile,
So-
Oasis is a bear. Like,
Yeah.
he's just a bear be doing
Still
bear
growling at
things.
people. So she turns back eventually, and they have a bit of a discussion. And a few things kind of come out into the light. Ravrim knows Goldtooth, which was kind of the butcher, the guy who kind of conducted or kind of what's the word? He headed the death of the genocide, the genocide. Anyway, the genocide of the Water Genasi, and yeah, he knows him, and he can deliver him on a silver platter or a gold platter or whatever you want to Oasis in exchange for Tilvir, who also happened to kind of orchestrate or conduct the whole thing. I guess kind of came up with a plan to kill all the Water Genasi. So it was kind of we're kind of doing everything for you and for me. So with similar goals, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
and at the same
Yeah.
time he gets to become a prime, pretty
and
much.
and and then we can have him as a contact. I think that was also another part of the
Yeah,
deal. Like
he
we
can help
can
you get into the mountain.
yeah we can buy some favors off of him after we install him, and I think those were reasonable terms. Like actually, it wasn't too reasonable because I think at first it was like I just give you gold tooth and you do all this impossible shit for me, and I just give you one guy, right? And I was like, that doesn't seem like a fair deal. And then he says, when I become prime, then we can sort out favors.
We
And I'm
can
like,
discuss
oh, okay,
exactly.
that's better. That's better.
Yeah,
So those seem like very favorable terms. We had a good lead of our main
reasonable
objectives.
deals, reasonable
Reasonable
man.
deals, an easy deal. Everybody gets what they want. Gets something that
Yeah,
they want.
yeah.
Um,
And it's not even like a transaction. It's you guys sharing. You know, you guys are family with this man for a little bit.
of course.
Ah, yes, for a little bit.
Then what happens?
Um, oh boy. So Storm showed interest in seeing the very large obsidian crystal that powers the whole ship, which is situated near the helm, or is it called the helm of the ship? Yeah, where the steering wheel is.
I think so. I
Yeah, the
think we called
helm,
it the upper deck.
or is
Didn't
the helm
say.
the front? Huh. Anyway, the upper deck, whatever. You guys go up there and you see this man at the steering wheel. It is not exactly the spitting image of Igma. He looks like a very old, much older gentleman, scraggly beard. His hair's kind of done up a little bit. He seems much older, a little wrinklier. He's evidently Igma's father, who Igma rushes over. They have a harsh conversation. Igma punches him in the stomach, and then Igma runs off to his ship, followed by Ryan. Meanwhile, Ravrim is kind of showcasing the big ass crystal. It's neat, I guess. You guys kind of touch it. It vibrates. It hums. It's cool. Um, and then Ravrim goes, "Okay, I'll go talk to Igma about him getting all you guys back to Huria. He'll
Mm-hmm.
sort it out." So Ravrim leaves, and you guys are left on the upper deck with Reuben, who was Igma's father, and Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Storm goes up to Reuben,
What does he
and
say? What does he say?
he engages in conversation. I think he begins with something like, "Oh, so you're Reuben's father, huh? Blah blah blah. I paid for the college tuition, you know. I guess that makes me a better father than you, haha."
Bruh.
Reuben, he's like, well, whatever. I guess you're a bit of an asshole. Does I think he said something along the lines of, does everyone you meet hate you instantly? And then Storm gets a little feisty. Storm's also like, "Yeah, by the way, I killed your brother too."
Bruh. Oh, that still hurts to hear it secondhand. Then what happens? What does Ruben do?
Reuben is a little more upset this time. He says, I'm gonna go talk to Ravrim about this." He seems very angry. He states that he is worth more to Ravrim than you guys are by a very large amount, since he's the only person who can fly this ship of his. So he kind of goes past you guys and goes down the stairs after Ravrim, and you guys kind of phase out for a little bit there, and we kind of pan back to the lower deck, where the lower I guess the docking area where the ship is, and Igma and Ryan are. And Igma finishes his conversation with Ravrim, and they seem to sort something out. And then you see Reuben come down the stairs, and Reuben and Ravrim kind of have this conversation. And Ravrim, he seems very very upset as well. He seems a little betrayed as well. Like, oh Jesus, I thought these guys were better than this. So he goes up to Ryan after, and he says, I'm afraid the deal's off." And Ryan's like, "Huh? Huh? What's going on?" Ryan is confused and angry, and then I think Ravrim kind of tells him what happened, and he's like, just get off my ship, just leave." So
Mm.
Ravrim leaves, Reuben leaves. I think Ryan goes up to kind of convey the information to the rest of the party.
Yeah.
Oh, and the party. Oh, you, you, Snow is not happy. Snow is not happy.
Oh man.
Do you recall
Man,
what went down?
I was not happy. Kevin was not happy. Okay. We it was just the smallest comment, and everything we worked up for is just gone. Oh man.
That was like an hour long conversation as well over lunch. It was a long, lengthy conversation with a lot of deals, and it's gone. It's gone. Snow kind of blows up at Storm. Storm kind of shrugs it off like, eh, it's alright. We can fix this. And then evidently, you guys can't fix this. You guys are having trouble finding a way off the ship. I believe everyone kind of starts blowing up at Storm for a little bit. Ryan has to go down and figure out how to get you guys off the ship without kind of throwing you overboard. So eventually, he kind of comes to an agreement with Igmar, who talks to Ravrim, and they're like, okay, I'll take the whole party, but Storm has to be kind of like bound and gagged or whatever before I take you guys back. And there's this little conversation, like a heartfelt conversation between Ryan and Ravrim. Ryan's like, oh, come on, there has to be like another way, like we can fix this or whatever. And Ravrim's like, well, if you were in my position, what would you do? And then Ryan's like, yeah, you know what? You got a point. You got a point. We're leaving now.
I think that's a conversation that Snow and Reverend have.
No, they. Was that
Or
you?
did they both?
I think you might have both had a similar conversation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you both go down and talk to. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was you. I'm misremembering. Yeah, they have. Well, that goes down, and everyone kind of leaves dejectedly back onto Igmar's ship. And Oasis was surprisingly quiet for like a solid like 15 to 20 minutes as that whole debacle went down. I don't know if she was like kind of like seething or kind of like stewing. She was like waiting for a time to strike, or I don't know what she was doing.
Well, maybe
you guys...
she was just getting tired.
Okay, yeah, maybe that too.
That could have been it.
Yeah, I'll give that to her. But you guys get on the ship, and I ask each of you what you're doing. Each of you is kind of figuring it yourselves out. Oasis finally, she decides, you know what? Fuck this Storm guy. I'm gonna bite him with some ant. I'm gonna bite him with an ant. So she summons one of those, one of those asshole death wants to make you commit suicide ants to bite Storm's ass. And there's a little thing going on there. Storm's like, there'll be repercussions, and there hasn't been repercussions yet, so I don't know.
Oh, there was repercussions, all right. There was repercussions.
Yeah, it hasn't even gotten to the juicy bit yet. You guys get back. You go back to Creed. Creed's like, all right, if you guys want to meet the council, something has to go down. Something big has to go down. I can help you in that regard. I don't know what has to go down, but I'll help you do it. Just this once. And so you guys have that little favor from her. You guys retreat back to the drunkard. Back to Snow's room this time instead of Storm's.
Yeah, we re-rent our rooms. Just short and curt conversation with Ty. And we all go up, and she seems bewildered that we have Storm in a suitcase hog tie. Toka was just carrying him in one hand, and we all go up without another word. Convene in Snow's room, because Storm's room used to be the room the party convened in, but it didn't seem appropriate this time to do so. So convene in Snow's room, and take it away. What happens?
Well, a few things happen. I think the main thing Snow asks is why did Storm feel it necessary to berate and insult this man, even though it gains the party nothing? Why are you sabotaging our efforts so far? And Maple came in with some hot fire. He came in hot, like he came in guns blazing. I didn't expect that from Maple at all, to be honest.
What did he say exactly?
Like Oh man, I don't remember the exact words, but it's like everything you've done so far is like setting us back, or like everything we, like you're just kind of breaking everything apart. It was super brutal. Like I was like, oh damn, that kind of that like I'm getting like collateral damage from the amount of shells he's dropping on Storm now, and people pile on Tokal. Oh man, Tokal. He blows the fuck up at Storm. Tokal's like, my God is telling me to kill you right now. You should die. You should die from this. And I was like, I
What?
was checking my messages, like, I
Was
didn't
his
send
god?
that.
Was his god really saying
I
that?
I think it's up to him to interpret what his God would.
Man,
I don't
this
know.
this
Maybe yes, maybe no.
should also mention that this little meeting, this little interrogation of Storm, we dubbed it the Trial of Storm. The Trial of
Stormy
Storm.
trials.
Um, but yeah,
Oh
it's
God.
about to turn into a crime of passion in a minute. With Toko in his divine fury.
Oh man, it was intense. It was intense for me at least. I was kind of laughing it off like haha, and then on the inside I was like, oh shit, what the fuck's happening right now? What's going on? Are they gonna kill him? Are they gonna kill him? Are they gonna exile him? What's going on?
I
What's
think
going
this
on?
might have been one of the longest. This might have been one of the longest periods of time in a session where you as the DM have had the least dialogue. I think Passage trips up here and there, but mostly it was like, yeah, it was like an hour long conversation amongst the party themselves.
It was hot. It was hot. I mean, Passage piped up, not exactly in Storm's defense, but he's like, well, in the vision, Igma and Eliwick are you guys best friends. Now they're not your best friends, so maybe that changes something. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. I don't know. At least maybe I won't betray you in the future. Who knows? So he's like, oh yeah, maybe the future is not immutable. Maybe you can change it. But that was pretty much his whole point, and then he shut the fuck up after that. Cause oh man, oh man, oh man, and Storm wasn't even sorry about what he did. He didn't. There was no remorse in that man's tone.
Mm.
Oh boy, it was. I don't think Ryan had much to say about it, right? Ryan was kind of
He did
neutral.
he did feel kind of like, I think towards the end when we were discussing like, okay, what options do we actually have in terms of what we're gonna do about Storm? And I believe Ryan, I don't know if he said this in character, maybe he did say this in character. He's like, we can't just kill Storm, we can't just exile Storm, and I think that's where his biases were. That was kind of very telling of where his biases were. But I don't know if that was like, we can't kill Storm because then Lewis can't play, or was it like, we can't kill Storm because we need Storm, or something like that, as a character driven motivation. And
He's an integral part of our party.
yeah, well, look, this brings up another discussion where, and we won't get too far into it, but there possibly might have been out of character decisions being made, about why Storm acted the way he did by his player. So, but it turned out to be a huge debacle. And yeah, I feel like everyone in the back of their minds was thinking like, we can't just kill Storm because then Lewis doesn't play, assuming that he doesn't have another character, which we learn later that he does. But at that time, right, this is an unprecedented event that happens in the party where we potentially voluntarily exclude a character from the party. So yeah, I feel like there was a lot of uneasiness about making a hard decision about this. Mostly out of player, like big anxiety, right? Big anxiety. And I feel like nobody really wanted to make a decision, myself included, because I'm like, that was basically all I was thinking about, right? Like, we're really just we're gonna axe a character like this, and like, I don't know. Deep down, I feel like Storm should of being exiled. Like after this session, I felt like maybe it was a better decision to actually exile him. But during the session, it was like I don't know, I don't know gameplay wise if that's a good decision, and I feel like there was a real clash between the narrative and the actual D&D gameplay dynamic, the group dynamic.
Yep.
And that was really like if we were actually the characters themselves, like there was no that world was reality, right? There's no outside players, there's no nothing. Like we're living that. The decision probably would have been pretty easy. It probably would have been pretty easy, right? Like if you're in a assignment group with some guy and some guy's clearly like actively sabotaging you, the decision's easy, right?
Yes.
But because there's this outside tension, outside of the narrative, it made it a really hard decision. At least for me. It really scrambled my brains.
I agree. I agree. There's a definite contention between immersion. There's a breaking point between immersion and like fun. They're not exactly correlated with each other, although sometimes they are. We're at the point where this would be the most immersive thing to do, but in doing so takes away fun from one or more of the players or the DM. And in a real life scenario, I agree with you. You're working with somebody who is actively working against you. Of course, just fucking yeet him out of here. Get him out of here. You can throw him out. Throw him out.
Yeah.
Peace out. In this scenario, well, yeah, I hate saying this because it goes against everything I've said before, but it is just a game. It is just a game, and we play games to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And taking away a character from a player because we don't like what he's doing is taking away that player's fun. But also in doing so, in his actions, he is also taking away. This is up to the players really, but taking away their enjoyment from the game.
That's right.
That is an issue.
That's right. That's also something I wanted to touch on because one player's actions could affect the enjoyment of other players as well.
Yes.
So, in a sense, it could have been justified if we had exiled Storm. In a sense, right? It would have been justified. Do you
It's
agree
absolutely
with that?
justified. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
from those actions alone, it is absolutely justified.
Right. Right. So yeah, it's a hard topic, and end of the day, and I think we can both agree that the player never really intended for it to, he never had the intention to, suck the enjoyment out of the other players at the table. I don't think that was the intention. I think there was just some other stuff going on that kind of bled in. There was some outside stuff that kind of bled into the in-game stuff, and that's really what caused
Lewis,
him to act out.
When Lewis makes a decision, he sticks to his guns. I respect that. He stuck to his decision to kind of make an ass out of Ruben, and that kind of snowballed. But he stuck to his guns. I'm not saying it was the right decision, but he made it, and some stuff went down. The party loses contact with a potential ally, potential lead, and that's just a loss you guys kind of have to deal with, or you can maybe try and work that back in. But yeah, it happened. It's difficult, and I think if we're just talking about objective, just like objective perspective on this, the Storm was definitely in the wrong for at least from a straight up just kind of D&D having fun perspective.
Yeah, like an outside gameplay
taking away enjoyment from
yeah.
He was wrong in that aspect. And so in game maybe it's a good idea to just yeet him out, but that takes away his enjoyment. It's something we just need to discuss as a party, just in person, just as a party. Like this is or this isn't working. Let's talk about it, kind of thing.
Like as a group, you mean? As a group, as a group. All
like
of us, as a D&D group. Yeah.
In person. Yeah, in person.
We probably will just need to discuss that. But
it's an issue, but it literally it's easily solved.
End of the day, it all comes down to intention, right? If if he actually intended to do that as a player, regardless of character, I mean that like if that's a bad intention, then that's pretty problematic. But I feel like this was just kind of like it was kind of like an isolated incident, you know? He never had
Yeah.
the intention to do so. It's just that, you know, some stuff was going on, he acted out on it, and that's it just collapsed from there. But yeah, I don't feel like he ever wanted he has any negative feelings towards the other players or doesn't want us to have fun or anything like that. Because I'm pretty sure he loves this
Awesome.
game, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone loves this game. Otherwise, they wouldn't turn up every week to
They wouldn't
sit
be
around
playing
a
it.
table for 4 to 5 hours
4
every week,
hours.
right? Everyone makes
Yeah.
an effort. So I
Yeah.
don't hold this against the player at all.
But your character holds it against that character. Yeah. D&D. Yeah? No?
But yeah, so getting back to the in-game narrative, after that lengthy discussion, the trial continues. Every character has their piece, almost, I think. Dropping some bombs, some in-game bombs.
In-game bombs,
Some
that's
some
somewhat
hotter and more explosive bombs that I think
Napalm.
we could ever drop in the podcast. And basically, it comes down to three options, right? And Storm doesn't really seem to mind which one we pick. It's either we kill Storm, we exile Storm, or we give him a final chance. And after some silent pauses and some slight deliberation, we come to the decision that we give Storm a final chance. With some conditions. First condition being that he actively makes an effort to remove his demon marks, right? Or demon mark, singular.
Yep.
Because the party believes that this demon mark is causing him to act out in game, causing him to act out as a character. So it's got to go. It's got to go. Second condition, he's on probation. He's not allowed to leave the site of at least 2 party members, so we basically have to babysit him for a little bit. And he is not to lead conversations until further notice. All right? And I think Storm was on board with this. He wanted to try and, I think, at this point, kind of realize what he'd done, wanted to try and make an effort to win back our trust. So I think both sides of the trial agree. So we solidify the terms, and that's what happens. Everyone adjourns for the night to their own rooms, and we take a long rest.
Talking about the 3 options, I don't think anybody, both as player and in character, was in favor of actually like executing Storm. I don't think anybody was actually for that. I know Tokul said so, but I don't think he was for it either. Yeah, that like it's not like in game you guys have only known each other for maybe like 8 months to a year, something along those lines. It's just it's a relatively long time. I mean, out of game and just in D&D in general, you guys have been playing for what, maybe half a year now, which is actually maybe like 8 months, which is it's kind of similar. So I don't think anybody was on board with killing him. I think a lot of people were like, yeah, maybe we should exile him, just kind of throw him out of here. He's not helping us. But I don't think anybody was on board with giving him the axe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an option, but I don't think anybody would have chosen it. I want to talk about drama. Drama's good. Drama in D&D is good. It's spice. It's the spice to your meal that gives you that little hit, you know? Dropping bombs on each other, throwing some insults, you know, like questioning people's backstories, their motives, whatever. That's cool. That's fun. It adds flavor, right? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, people make millions of drama every day, so
Yeah, controversy makes money.
Yeah.
Money.
Of course, there
We
is
should talk
value
about controversial
in drama.
topics. That's a different time. Yes, there is a lot of value in drama. But, in the same vein, drama comes to a point where it collides with narrative. And I'm not saying that allying up with Ravrim is gonna, like breaking the alliance with him is gonna like throw things out of proportion. Everything's going haywire. The world's gonna end. I mean, no. But I think narrative in the perspective of the whole party agrees on going in this direction. Um, this drama is gonna ruin that. That becomes an issue. And this is kind of a, I don't know if it's like a shout out or a PSA to all the players. Hey, it's fine. Just fling shit at each other. It's cool. It's funny. I have fun. Everyone has fun doing it. Just I don't know. Just kind of make sure it doesn't throw off the campaign in a weird direction, or do you. I don't know.
Are you?
I don't know.
So are you? You're saying this in reference to what Storm said to Ruben, or what the players were saying to each other during the trial?
Oh no, what Storm said to Ruben.
Okay. Yeah.
And the consequences of that.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if it's not in character, or if it's not. Well, I mean, I can't say that this isn't what your character would do. It's your character, of course. You know what they would do, but I don't know. Just maybe think a little more about what you say. What are you gonna do? I don't know. I don't know. Just a little tidbit. Yeah, little tidbit.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of touched on this regarding the enjoyment of the other players.
Yeah.
You know,
this is just more about the story in general, though, as from the DM perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
But it goes hand in hand with the other topic that we have. Like, narratively, you should be considerate about. You should be considerate about what the party has decided and what the goals are and how you're achieving those. And out of game, you should be considerate about the other players' enjoyment of the game, to sum it all up, I guess.
Yes, good narrative and good happy times. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. We gotta have fun. And we do have fun. Speaking of having fun, there wasn't that many dice rolls this session. I know I've touched on this topic before. There wasn't that many dice rolls this session. There were a lot of dice rolls last session, but that was mostly just attacks and whatever. Does that take away from your enjoyment?
Well, I didn't bring it up this podcast, so I'd say no, and I'm pretty sure none of the other players really had a problem
Feel
with
that way?
either. That's just my presumption, but
Okay.
you know, it does feel nice to roll high, and we've discussed this before. Everybody likes to roll high. Tokul doesn't seem to get a break though. About
You rolled a nat 20 on disadvantage. That
I
poor man.
I don't think he rolled above a 10 this session.
No, he got a nat 20.
No, but that was on disadvantage, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, but it wasn't disadvantage.
It doesn't
Well,
count.
yeah, I guess he needs to throw away those dice seriously.
Those
things are
bubblegum
cursed.
dice. Just use your
Bubblegum dice.
Just use your red Chessex dice, Tokul. Okay.
Oh yeah, those ones. I like those ones.
Doesn't he? You have like a red and blue one. You have reds and blue, or maybe that's your one.
Tokul has reds. Tokul has reds. I
Okay.
have blue and crystal blue, whatever.
Okay. So yeah,
No, not a big problem.
not for me personally. Other players, get in the comments if you.
Get in the comments,
if you
do a
wanna-
discussion. Subscribe.
But
hit the bell,
like
comment,
the fact
subscribe.
the fact that I didn't hear any complaints or anything like that, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I mean,
Okay.
because the events of which this session played out didn't really call for it, I guess. Like, it didn't really call for a dice roll heavy
Session.
session.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't call for it, then if it's not needed, then it's not missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of in the same vein of how we don't have combat every session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although
Just making sure.
people do enjoy combat, every once in a while. So
Yeah. And maybe there's some more coming up. All right,
Oh,
we should finish the recap. We should finish the recap.
I mean,
There's a little bit more.
we're just about done. So the party goes to the long rest, and there's two groups. What are the two groups?
The two groups are Maple, Tokul, and Storm. They're going to the church to see what they can. Oh, plus passage. They're going to the church.
No,
No?
it's Snow, Maple, and Storm. They go with passage.
Isn't Tokul going because he's all religious and shit?
No, I think Toko is going to
What?
meet his meet with. He's gonna fulfill
Nostra.
He's gonna
Right,
fulfill
that's
his
what-
end of the deal
yeah.
with Nostra because now he's back
Right.
in Huria.
Right.
So
You are right. Yes.
Ryan and Oasis decide that they're going with him to that, and then I think Oasis wants to go to the center of the pentagram for the murder mystery that happened a session ago.
Yeah.
And there, that's the current short term
Forgot to send that picture. Oops.
plans for the party.
Yeah. What happens after
And-
that?
So when the party exits the tavern, a town cry is yelling, all hail, all welcome the arrival of Sigvis. No, it's the other way around. Razlov Civicus.
That's a boy.
And this is a name that came up back in session 43
Long time ago.
when we went into the book vision. A character of the same name appears in the book vision, Ravlos Civicus, and turns out he is a lich or something of some kind, or maybe he is the Scourge of the Sands, something like that. And
Maybe that was a straight 15 minutes where you guys were just kind of pouring through your notes, like, who the fuck is this person? Like, why does this name sound familiar?
It was the one session where I wrote absolute dog crap notes, and I didn't pin
Nice.
it. I didn't pin it to the Discord, so it was just conveniently missing from the recap.
Yeah, that's crazy how that happens, huh? That's crazy.
So yeah, and then from there the session ends. So that's the end of the recap.
Predictions for next session, Kevin.
Predictions for the next session. So we have to go back to the. We have to go to the temple. Go to the chief priest of Vosny. Passage says that Vosny, the chief priest, doesn't really like Passage for some reason. Snow doesn't give a crap. We're heading to the temple.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so something's gonna happen there. It's either, oh yes, I can help you. You got to do this, this, and this. And so we go on a bunch of basically a quest line. That's in itself a quest line. And then, or he says no, but maybe someone else can help you, and then the quest line leads elsewhere, something like that. So, but of course we most definitely won't be able to get rid of the mark in one session. It'll probably take a long time, I think, to get rid of them, and it might end up being that we have to find the Oathbreaker to break that mark too. That's what I think.
Okay.
In regards to the other side, and of course I should mention the Scourge of the Sands is coming. I mean, this Razlov character is coming, and who knows what he's gonna do? Is he a prime? Is he what kind of figure is he? Does the party want to do anything about him? Something like that. Maybe something will happen. Maybe a discussion will occur where they discuss what they're gonna do with Razlov. And then maybe something will happen. And I think this goes hand in hand with what Oasis wants to do with her murder mystery, because that has to do with the Scourge of the Sands, something like
Indeed.
that. Maybe that was the ritual completing with his arrival, right?
Maybe. Those are some solid guesses. I'm going to tell you right now that you're completely wrong. Because next week is Halloween week, baby. Yeah. I don't think we're going to have a normal session next week.
Oh, it's not.
That's
It's
all I'm
not a
saying.
normal. It's not a normal campaign session.
It'll be with your characters. Probably not a normal session though.
But is it like not in the campaign? It's like a one shot with the character, like a side story. You're thinking?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. I'd say so.
Ooh, is this an announcement? Side story.
This is an announcement. PSA.
This
Hey.
is the this 48.5. You know how Japanese light novels have like a 0.5
Yeah. The little side piece.
side. This little.
Extra world.
Oh, cool.
I think so. Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm gonna do something a little different. Stray from the narrative a little bit.
Yeah, I think next week will also be our cosplay session. Unfortunately, not all the
Cosplay.
players will be attending, which I really would have liked the whole party to be there.
Maple, Eisen.
Maple and Eisen, but yeah, I think I'm excited. I bought some stuff yesterday for my cosplay. It's kind of
Me too.
I think it's pretty low effort ish, but I feel like if I can pull it off, it won't look as bad. But yeah, I'm not one much for costumes, but I think this one will probably be good.
Okay. Get excited. That's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, I'm gonna look like a total garbage wreck that day. Cause I was gonna go with the, DM, just wrap a cloak around your thing. Actually, I was looking at the
The
DM costume,
the DM
the bowl cap
costume? Yeah.
for the bowl cap. They're all sold out, man. I wanted to buy one, but they're all sold out.
Oh damn.
It's gotten too popular. But yeah, so I'm gonna try something else.
Okay, cool.
See what happens when it happens.
All right, I think that might be a good place to leave it off. We've been Far Kingdoms. This has been episode 11. We will talk to you guys next time. We cover the Halloween cosplay session. Ooh. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.